dictate whatever you have. Board of Trustees for the Lakeside School District tonight, and I love seeing a crowded room. This is awesome, so thank you for coming. I just have to give our closed session report. We met in closed session and no action was taken. And now we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance. That will be led by the students from Eucalyptus Hills in our Flex School. And we'll do the pledge with Kelly Gilbert.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Gilbert will give us a report on Eucalyptus Hills. Thank you, Kelly. You guys have any questions or comments? No? Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. All right, now we'll move to the trustee reports. We'll start with trustee LaChapa. Excellent. Thank you, trustee LaChapa. By the way, did you make that salsa that you said?
Yes, I did. It
You
was
did?
hot. I know, I'm sorry. So my husband loves really hot. So I was supposed to tame it down and I didn't, I failed. It was a fail. It was delicious, but it was hot.
Fair enough. Trustee Ferrante.
It was great to have the parade and to be at the rodeo again. I love the rodeo. I've been to several open houses now. They've started to happen, Lemon Crest, Riverview, and TBS. And TBS's open house had performances going on and all kinds of really things for kids to get involved in. Loved the robotics, had a little small world thing that was pretty fun. I also went up to Lakeview for their dunk tank day. That was, and they had to reschedule it because it was rained on their original day. And then the day they had it wasn't that warm either. And Tiger and Miss Jackie had spent a lot of time in the water. But they were sporting the squirt guns too, so the kids had a lot of fun too. I was able to visit the district-wide PLC, which was fun, and I learned some things. I got to read at People Skills during this time. I love to go up there. So fun to have Singing in the Rain for LMS. The play was amazing. And Junior Olympics, and it was so fun to have that event again as well. The kids loved it. The kids were so excited to be there, and I enjoyed that. And then I do want to recognize the teachers for Teachers Week also.
Thank you. Trustee Wisman.
Unmute myself.
Epic fail.
Okay, so I also wanted to acknowledge Teacher Appreciation Week last week, and thanks to all the teachers for all the job you do on a day-to-day basis with all our kids. But this week, I think, is Classified Employees Week. Am I mistaken or not? Next week. Well, it's next week. It's right. It's the 15th through the 21st. But I wanted to acknowledge them because we're not going to be here to do that because our classified staff have done an amazing job. If you were able to go to the ribbon cuttings and other things earlier this year and being on all the campuses and how they're looking and keeping the campuses open and safe for all our kids, I really appreciate the work that all our classified employees have been doing. So I want to acknowledge that's next week. So if you want to do something nice for the classified staff, it'd be nice if you could do that too. I also got to work at the rodeo, and I used to be a member of the Stadium Association when I was the vice principal in the district. And so it was good being back on the rodeo turf and taking tickets on Sunday. And I would like a thanks to the Stadium Association. I guess they had packed nights, all nights. And I was just hearing about how much food they served, and I know everybody worked their tail ends off. So it was really appreciative because I know that money goes back to the kids in Lakeside. And so what a great cause and what a great thing. And I got to ride on a float in the parade instead of marching with the band or something, which I've done in the past. And it was a lot more comfortable sitting on a hay bale than having to walk the route. So I appreciate that too. And then I also participated, and I want to thank Natalie for letting us participate in the PLC on it, kind of based on how people learn. And it was, hopefully the teachers got something from it, and I appreciated being part of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wisman. All right, Trustee Hofer Moyer.
I too have been very busy along with all those things. I had fun getting back and working at the rodeo. Got to make lots and lots of rodeo burgers over many, many nights, as well as the Western Days Parade. We had a lot of students come and staff come help carry banners, and I really appreciate that. I got to celebrate our bus drivers on Bus Driver Appreciation Day, and so it was nice. I got to enjoy their lunch with them and got to really celebrate, and they do such a service to our district and driving our students. So I really appreciate that. I sat in on the PLC with the Lindo Park teachers, which was very informative to be able to not only participate and listen, but to listen to them collaborate as well. Went to the open house at TDS, singing in the rain at LMS as well with Junior Olympics. Went to the honoring our own award ceremony where we got to celebrate Dr. Hardiman.
I had that on my list.
As well as last night, the dance concert at LMS too. So it's been busy, and it's going to be a busy May.
Yes, it will. Okay, well, I too went to many of those events. I really enjoyed the parade this year. A lot of fun being on the float, and I volunteer for the chamber, and so I run. It's so nice that the chamber lets me volunteer in the division where then I can ride on the float through the parade instead of walk. So I get to walk, sit with all the kids, and that was a lot of fun. Friday night, I volunteered at the rodeo on that Friday night, and let me tell you, I really appreciate the job that I had. It was great. So I want to thank the association for picking such a great job for me. Since I can't stay seated for very long, they had me just talk to people and get them to buy specialty foods, which was actually a really good job. So I really enjoyed it. I too went to bus driver appreciation and their lunch. And I will say their lunch is at 10 a.m. because they get up at 4. So it was 10 o'clock in the morning. I was not ready for a sandwich at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I enjoyed sitting with them and hearing about what was going on. I went to TDS's open house as well. It was packed. So I want to thank Leslie and her team. What a great job they did over there. And it was Admin Professionals Day. And so I want to honor Lisa, who takes care and helps the board. She takes all of our notes and all the minutes. And so each of us, we were able to honor her on that. And I want to honor all of our administrative assistants in the district. So thank you for that. LMS, I went to Sing in the Rain. That was funny. I really enjoyed it. The Junior Olympics, it was hot. I got sunburned, but it was fun. It was fun. And then, of course, I want to acknowledge our teachers and thank you for all your hard work. And we're coming up on the end of the year and a well-deserved summer. So I appreciate all of your work. A couple things on the legislative front. The May revised budget is going to be announced next week, which will have some significant impacts on school districts. If you all haven't sent a letter to the governor asking him to take some of the budget surplus and pay down the pension liability that we as districts have, please send that to the governor. That'll help us ensure we get more resources into the classroom instead of having to pay the debt of the state. So I want to let you all know about that. And then next weekend is the delegate assembly in Sacramento, where California School Board Association will get together and work with our legislators. So very excited. And that's my report.
Andrew,
Yes, ma'am.
this Sunday is move-in. Next week is the fair for Lakeside. So if anyone, so this Sunday is fair move-in, and then we'll have a normal fair in person, and the kids can walk over there and see the animals. So, and get your slack sandwich. Can't.
Very exciting.
No, they didn't move in this week on Monday. No, this Sunday.
All right. So let's see. Now we will move on to public comment. Do we have any speakers? Okay.
Hi,
I'm used to talking to 5-year-olds, so I apologize if I stumble over my words a little bit. I'm also a mom. I have a 3rd grader, a 5th grader, and a 7th grader in this district. I teach in another district, so I am very pleased with the education that they're getting in this district. So thank you for that. My 2 youngest go to Riverview, and my oldest goes to Lakeside Middle. I loved hearing about all the activities and community events that you were talking about because my kids were involved. I had a son carry one of the banners in the parade. I had another son march in the band in the parade, work in the scouts at the rodeo. And so they're involved in all of those activities. And we as a family attend them and appreciate going to them. I wanted to come and talk about promotion, 5th grade promotion. I don't understand why you're taking away a social milestone for our kids. Why is it a drive-through? All of our neighboring districts are doing in-person graduations or promotions for 5th grade. I read the letter that our superintendent wrote and said that she had favorable parent feedback, and that's why we were doing it. And I don't know what favorable feedback was given. I certainly know there wasn't a survey given to parents this year. And was it favorable feedback because they didn't have a choice last year or the year before? There was no choice. Everybody did drive-throughs. Because my kids go to Riverview, they're in a kind of a interesting little small group of kids. They've been with the same kids since preschool, kindergarten. My kids are in the Mandarin program. I, as a parent, have gone in and helped those kids and helped struggling readers or helped struggling students on my breaks. And then in turn, other parents, they'll text me or email me, hey, Ben did this, or, Jonathan did that. And they will send me pictures because I couldn't be there in person. So we formed this community, not just with my kids, but the other kids in the class and the other parents. So if I'm doing a drive-through graduation, I'm only seeing my kid. I would love to see and celebrate all those other kids that are there also, those kids that I helped struggle, or I'd like to thank the parents that helped my kid when he was struggling. That's part of that whole promotion that we're doing. They always say it takes a village to help kids. I don't know any better village right now than Lakeside. We moved to Lakeside about 4 years ago, and we love it. And we moved because of Riverview. So that's why we came to this district. Let's see, sorry. I just think that it's a shame that we're depriving them of another social event, especially as we've said in all of our community things, the rodeo, the parade, all kinds of things are going on in person again. Why are we limiting our kids to just this drive-through? And it's not just my kid, it's our whole family of kids. We want to build more community in our schools. And if we can't celebrate those great milestones with each other, then that's a shame and it's a loss. So I hope you consider, it's probably too late this year. I would hope that it's not, but I hope you consider that for next year and going forward, because I know in the letter it said we would be doing this going on. So that's a disappointment to me. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move to some special presentations that I'm very excited about. So we're going to first recognize the El Capitan Stadium Association, and I just want to say a few words about the Stadium Association, and then I want to open it up to all my colleagues. I'm extremely grateful for all the work that the Stadium Association does. And for those of you who don't know what Stadium Association does for the district, they provide grants to our district for numerous different projects that our classrooms are working on, whether it be ukuleles for some of our music programs, whether it be books for our teachers, whether it be soccer balls for some of our soccer teams in Lakeside for our kids. They are about the youth of Lakeside, and they care about the youth of Lakeside in a way that most people don't know that That's what the Stadium Association does. And so because when they run the rodeo, they spend a lot of effort doing that yearly event. And many of the proceeds come back to Lakeside kids. So I just think everybody should know that when you go to the rodeo and you enjoy and you have fun in a community event, all that resource comes back to Lakeside kids. So I want to thank the association, and I want to open it up to any of my colleagues who have any comments that they'd like to share before we do our presentation.
I know my niece and nephew have made presentations and for club dance and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, they do, and all that money does stay in Lakeside. It is for the Lakeside youth. It doesn't go anywhere else but right here. So, you know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for us.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but when I was a teacher at TDS and a vice principal at TDS, I went several times with groups of kids who asked for things like if it was new uniforms for the band or new curtain for the stage, or I know for my Science Olympiad team and money for transportation to go to a bus to compete at a state tournament. And the Stadium Association has always been there to support kids and support the work of teachers and students. And so I really appreciate all the work that they do for the kids of Lakeside. And my son, being a former student in Lakeside, benefited from stuff that the Stadium Association granted to the schools that he attended. So
I appreciate that they are not only supporting our children, but also teaching our children, because it's not just the teacher or the group head that's going to come and ask for the funding. Those kids are the ones that are learning public speaking. They're learning to answer the questions of the board meeting that they're attending, and to gain that experience. It's nice to reap the rewards, but the experience that they're gaining is so much more. And I really appreciate that they're so kid forward that they're teaching as they go as well.
The Stadium Association has been probably one of the best things that ever happened to Lakeside, you know, way back when this had to do with the stadium. And since then, it's been every other thing you can even imagine. Both of my sons were in clubs or groups that went to the Stadium Association for funds, and it's something very unique about Lakeside, and I couldn't be more proud that we have that here.
It's also a huge event that requires lots of volunteer work. So it's fun. I mean, I volunteered, I've done cleanup, I've done the messy one where you got to rake up all the beer bottles, empty the trash cans, the late at night, 11 o'clock, dust off the stadium. Me and my husband have done that several times. You can volunteer in their snack bars. You can, there's lots of opportunity to volunteer, and they're always looking for volunteers, as you know, and that's the only way. That event is huge. You can't do it without volunteers. So it's a great way to give back to your community if anyone's looking to volunteer at the next rodeo.
All right. So with that said, I want to call up the representatives of the Stadium Association. We have Dick here tonight, Tim and Jen, and I want to present you with something from the district, and I want all my colleagues to come and join me as well. So come on up, folks. So thank you for everything that you do for our kids. And we have, on behalf of the district and my colleagues, we have for you. And we would just like to thank you. We want to do a little photo here and with all our stuff. I guess I'm going here. I guess I'm going here. All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Right. You got it. Of course you can. You have the point of personal privilege, my friend. Go ahead.
we are, our association was started so that Lakeside Capitan High School could get a stadium. We've made enough money at that time, and we decided to spread out to support all of the kids of Lakeside. Lakeside only. All of our money goes back to the kids. And I'm not trying to play politics, but these teachers, a lot of the teachers are our volunteers. And the teachers know that when the money that they were supposed to get from the lottery never came, that's our goal, is to fill that money back in. Because whether it's a garden project, a basketball uniform, a robotics, whatever, we're there to try and fill that gap that the schools don't have the money for. Anyhow, that's what we are. We're volunteers. And a lot of our volunteers are teachers. I got to thank the teachers that have been there year after year after year. So thank you very much.
Okay, we are now moving to our recognition of our employees of the year. So Superintendent Dr. Taylor and I are going to go over here. We're going to present.
So each and every year, we ask the schools to send in their Teachers of the Year list. And so this year, we are going to be honoring the Teachers of the Year. And we always say every year that every teacher deserves to be Teacher of the Year every year, because everybody's just in there doing really hard work, and it's work of love for the students. So I'm going to start off with our Lakeside Farms Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Tina Hober, who is also going to be representing us at the county level as the Lakeside Union School.
Everyone's getting a little star because they're all stars in both senses of the word. So there you are.
Thank you. Give her the star, actually.
Well,
Oh, okay. So we're back doing the same show later. So.
I'm not taking
Okay.
tips.
I am going to go also because in addition to the teachers, we do the classified employee of the year. So each site turns in their classified employee of the year. And the same goes with them, that everybody works hard, so everybody deserves this recognition. I am going to recognize right now from LEAP, which is our preschool program, if you don't know LEAP, Linda Marie Lima, who is the classified employee of the year. Oh, and also Linda will be representing Lakeside as the Lakeside Chosen Classified Employee. Okay, so the next teacher, outstanding teacher, as they all are, from Lindo Park, we have Amy Nava. We have another LEAP person who is Alejandra Garcia. She is the LEAP. If you don't want me to hug you, just say don't hug me. I won't take it from the district office, we have our very own Betsy Harding, who is our classified. From TDS, we have Beverly Warford, who is our classified. And if I mispronounce your name, please correct me because I want to honor you appropriately. From Lakeview, we have Bonnie Wheaton, who is our Lakeview classified. And from transportation, this used to be a student of mine when I was the VP at Lakeside Middle School. We have Cassandra Gordon. So she is. He's really only 12.
So am I. Congrats.
From TDS, we have another outstanding, amazing teacher. I love to go in her classroom when I'm visiting, Crystal Herrera. Representing the other side of town from LMS, another outstanding classroom I love to visit, Davini Huden. I am so sorry. Okay, classified employee of the year from Winter Gardens, Devon Donahue. We have our Lemon Crest Teacher of the Year, Georgina Perez. Take myself now. We have Riverview, our Teacher of the Year from there, Gina Nunez. Our Classified Employee of the Year from Eucalyptus Hills, Isabel Barola. Always fun. From Winter Gardens, our Teacher of the Year, I'm going to take my best shot, Ishuan Wu. Can I get it? Do you have a picture, guys? You're welcome. We had a lot of fun celebrating them on the school sites. From Eucalyptus Hills, Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Jennifer Speedy. I'm hoping I'm going to get this one right. Lakeview, Teacher of the Year, Jessica Weldell.
Wellesley.
Still going? There's so many wonderful people. Lemon Crest, Classified Employee of the Year, Kelly Fleming. Hills Bi-Literacy Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Kelly Gilbert. Food Services, Child Nutrition Employee of the Year, Christy Summers. I'll give you one. Thank you. Okay, and we are on to our Riverview Classified Employee of the Year, Marissa Robertson. Riverview Bi-Literacy Teacher of the Year, Marjorie Mayen. You're welcome so much. You're welcome. Okay, we have Lakeside Farms Classified Employee of the Year, Nancy Kemsley. Technology Employee of the Year, Pete Prado. Baby, so he's excited to be home with the baby. Maintenance Employee of the Year, Mr. Ron Renzulli.
Thank you. That too.
Okay, Lindo Park Classified Employee of the Year, Mrs. Sheila Flory.
Air hug, air hug.
I'm gonna grab her award.
We have your star right here.
Okay, I'm gonna grab it.
Bonnie has your
Bonnie
star.
has your star.
She's at home making cookies.
I want some.
And our teacher of the year for the district is from Lindo Park, Miss Susie Smith. Okay, so one more round of applause for all of our class. Everyone up here to take a picture. If you are a winner and you are with us tonight, we'd love to have it. And the board, please come. How many years?
Don't even worry.
Oh, wow.
That's definitely me. Come on, Shirley. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Not too terrible.
Well, I want to thank our employees of the year again for all their hard work. Thank you, guys. All right, we will now move on to Dr. Rhonda Taylor presenting a superintendent update.
I feel like it's the Dr. Taylor show tonight.
It is.
Well, I'm giving. Hang on one second, it's down here. Okay, here we go. Let's try again. And let me try to go back to the beginning. Okay. So we are really pumping up our effort to advertise the wonderful things that we're doing in our school district this year. As you know, the state enrollment, student enrollment is down largely. So as we are looking forward to staffing for next year, we're really wanting to make sure that the good things that we're doing here in Lakeside are communicated out to our public. And so that we want to make sure that we're retaining as many students as possible and attracting as many new students as we possibly can. So as you know, we work with Target River. They do our campaigning for us at this point. So we do both Facebook and television advertising, also some radio and flyer advertising. And so I'm going to show you a sample if you have not seen one of the programs as to what it looks like. Can we hear it? No. Oh, is it the sound on the television? Do we need the television sound to be on?
Yeah, we need a television.
Oh, you know why? Hello. Let's try again.
Minded students, robotics, music, visual and performing arts, and a world.
So this one is for the entire district. So it's advertising Lakeside.
Lakeside Union School District's 9 schools provide unique opportunities that boost our students' academic skills and personal success. We have something for every child: challenging curriculum, STEAM programs for tech-minded students, robotics, music, visual and performing arts, and a world-class trilingual language program for kindergarten through 8th grade students. Lakeside Union supports and celebrates the diversity within our community. We invite you to enroll in one of our amazing schools today. Learn how we can make a difference for your child.
Well, that didn't go as planned, but you get the idea, right? So every single school has their own video, and then we did 2 district videos to promote Lakeside Union School District overall. And that also includes our flex and our transitional kindergarten program. So now we're going to go to the next one. Okay. I don't know why this is not-
Lakeside
I'm
Union
having
School
that day.
District's 9 schools provide
I'm having
unique
that technology day, but it's not moving to the next slide.
Lakeside
Yeah, there we go. Goodness gracious. We were just laughing about how the technology thing is always so you get it down, you practice it, and then when you do it, it's just a mess. But anyways, we are advertising our trilingual education. And so this is what it looks like when you're on the Facebook page and you see the advertisements comes up. And so then you can click for more information. This is where we're advertising our innovative learning and experiential learning. We have our advanced learners. So you'll see some of our teachers that are doing, our middle school teachers that are hosting advanced learning classes are featured in this and how that looks for the students. We have our language immersion programs featured in these Facebook ads as well. And so the statistics stemming from the ads is the total impressions. And I put the definition in for you because it's okay, really? Sorry, you guys. Okay, so the target river cost for this, as you know, is $34,980. And this includes a web presence, TV, radio, social media platforms like Google and Firefox search engines, things like that. Comcast, Fire Apple, Apple TV, Sling, and Hulu. So the total impressions, and the impressions are how many times the videos are watched all the way through. So we've reached 619,000 people. And the total clicks is when someone clicks on it for more information. So they've watched the video and now they want to click to the next part where they get more information. So we've had 499. The OTTs are how many times it's been streamed to digital content. And so I just put those in there for you so that you could see that. That would be your Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Amazon or Android and Samsung. Then the pre-roll is how many people are looking at, there's a little segment right before the video starts that kind of advertises. So it's just kind of a little quickie. And then so if somebody's looking at that, how many impressions, they've watched that all the way through, and how many views that are there. So 3,546 views. So we've had a problem with the phone number. So when people call the district office as a result of watching these videos or clicking on this information, it flags that number as that it is from the advertising campaign. However, the calls that we're getting are flagged from other districts. They're not ours. So we've reached out to Target River to fix that. And so hopefully that will be fixed very, very soon. And they have been directed to solve the issue so that we know how much advertising, how many phone calls are coming from ours. And so also they are advertising in the zip code of 92040. And I've asked them to expand that a little bit so that we can show our great stuff to our neighboring districts as well. And so that's pretty much that. I just wanted to share this with you guys to say, where is our money going and how is it going? And what bang are we getting for our buck? Okay, any questions?
Has Target River given us any statistics on how many students we've enrolled from our effort?
We don't have all of that compiled yet, but I can bring that back to the next one and we can see how many so far. Okay, that's pretty much mine.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. We will move to Dr. Natalie Winspear for her presentation on the Transitional Kindergarten Expansion Plan.
go better than mine. It's the videos.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm unmuted. I am. Okay. So as you know, we have been working on expanding our TK programs here in the district. So tonight I'm going to share with you an overview of what it is that we have been doing to prepare. So we're going to talk a little bit about the planning team that we pulled together, our timeline for expansion, and where our classes are going to be located, things that we've had to consider as we prepare to move our TK program from Eucalyptus Hills to the school sites. Maintaining our play-based approach and what curriculum we're going to be using, teacher training, and staffing. So those are the things we're going to cover. So first of all, we were required to pull together a TK planning team with a variety of stakeholders. So I have listed the names here of the folks who participated in our planning team. We had 2 meetings. And this team was integral in essentially considering all of the areas that we were required to consider by the state. So the state required us to talk about our vision for our program, how we were going to engage the community and what partnerships we would have in the community, how we were going to recruit our workforce, what our curriculum and instruction was going to be, and then what our facilities, services, and operations would be. So you can see we had folks representing all of those different areas from across the district. So thank you very much to the folks who participated on the planning team. So our expansion timeline is going to look something like this. So back in December, the state published the requirements. On February 4th, we held our first planning meeting. On February 18th, we held our second planning meeting. Obviously, because they were published in December, we felt a little bit of a sense of urgency to get a plan going. And then April through June, we did several different things. Our TK teachers met over spring break with Kelly Gilbert, and they created a TK play-based playbook, which I'll show you a little preview of, because what we want to do is we want to maintain a play-based approach in our TK classrooms. That's easy to do when our TK classrooms are together at one site, but now that they're going out to the sites, we wanted to make sure that, and we're going to be bringing on some new TK teachers. So we wanted to make sure that both the new TK teachers as well as the site administrators understood and had an overview of what the TK play-based way is in our TK program. So actually, Kelly presented that to our principals in a recent management meeting as well. We looked at TK curriculum and talked about what we would be using. And then Robin and I, and Robin left, but Robin, this was Robin's idea, and I really thought it was an amazing idea. So Robin and I reached out to all of the local community preschools here in Lakeside, because we wanted to make sure they were aware of what was happening and why it was happening, because the reality of the situation is that by expanding TK, we are going to be bringing on 4-year-olds over the period of several years into the school district, which is absolutely going to impact their enrollment. So we just wanted to make sure they knew like what our timeline was, that this was something that we were essentially directed to do by the state of California. We do feel like it's going to be amazing for kids in Lakeside, but we also wanted them to have a chance to prepare, just like Robin is preparing in our LEAP program. They've been working on shifting their curriculum to be more appropriate for 3-year-olds and younger 4-year-olds, because we're going to be serving many of the 4-year-olds now in our TK program. And that's going to get their clientele is going to get younger and younger and younger over the next few years as we expand our program. So that meeting went really well. Some of the, most of them expressed dismay that this is going to be impacting their enrollment, but they also said, we understand it's not a Lakeside decision. It's a state decision, and they were grateful for the opportunity to chat with us and kind of hear what LEAP preschool is doing to prepare. So they were able to kind of hear some ideas.
How many preschools came?
I believe we invited 8 and we had 3 who came. Yeah. And we did the meeting by Zoom so that it would be easy for them to attend. Yeah. Yeah. And then in August, obviously, we're going to open up TK classes at our school sites. So behind the scenes, we've been working on a few things. Miss Terry has been very, very busy with TK enrollment. As you have seen, we have put TK banners up on the banner area out front so that the community would know that we were enrolling TK. We also did a thought exchange because one of the requirements is for us to get input from the community. So we used a thought exchange survey to do that. And I'm going to share those results with you. And then we've also been talking with principals about classrooms, making sure that the classrooms and the sites are ready to welcome TK students onto our comprehensive sites next school year. So in terms of the thought exchange, these were the 4 big ideas that stood out from the input from the community. There was a lot of interest in continuing our play-based approach. They wanted us to focus on preparing TK students for kindergarten. They wanted us to provide direct support to students and instruction in social emotional learning. And then teach students to love school and to love learning. They wanted us to provide a fun and safe learning environment, which we're really good at that. So in terms of the timeline for expansion, this is what the timeline looks like. In next school year, we will be serving students who turn 5 between September 2nd and February 28th. So we're only required next year to serve them, just to do this through February 2nd, but because we're currently serving EAK students and that date goes through February 28th, we didn't want to lose any enrollment because EAK is going away. So we decided, even though we only had to go until February 2nd, we expanded it to February 28th for any of those families who were thinking, oh, I'm going to get to enroll my child in EAK. We wanted to make sure they had the opportunity to have the full year TK experience because there will be no more EAK classes when TK expands. Then in the 23-24 school year, that birth date will shift up to April 2nd. And then in the 24-25 school year, it'll shift up to June 3rd. And then by 25-26, they will need to turn 4 by September 1st, 2025. And then we will stop there, and every year after that, that will be the cutoff date for TK. Otherwise, we would then be going into 3-year-olds. So currently right now, this is where we are projected to have classrooms. We're going to have 1 Spanish class at Lakeview, 2 classes at Lakeside Farms, 2 classes at Lemon Crest, 1 class at Lindo Park, and 2 Spanish classes at Winter Gardens. And so I just checked in with Terry the other day. Several of these classrooms are already full, and there's a few that we had families who expressed interest, but they have not yet filled out the enrollment paperwork. So we reached out to all of them and gave them a deadline of this Friday to fill out the paperwork. Otherwise, we would be opening it back up to put more families into other families who are interested into those classrooms. If we end up with a lot of additional interest between now and the beginning of the school year, we do have some ideas of where we might be able to open another classroom or 2, but right now it looks like we're holding tight at 8 for next school year. So if you think about right now, we have 4 TK and 2 EAK. We're really net gaining 2 classrooms. So in terms of what are we doing to prepare for the classrooms, the principals that are receiving or going to be opening TK classes have been looking at where those classrooms are going to be located on their sites. They're going to be looking at, are those classrooms, do they have bathrooms? Are they in close proximity to bathrooms? Where are the play areas going to be? Because our playgrounds are rated for certain ages. So our TK kiddos are only going to be able to play on the kinder playgrounds. So making sure that they're going to have access to those, be built into the kinder playground schedule, all that good stuff. The CDE has created a preschool learning foundations curriculum that they use at LEAP, and that's the curriculum that we're going to be using in our TK classrooms. It's very age appropriate and play-based, and we're also going to be continuing with our play-based approach. And then just this week, Kelly and her team were looking through storage up at Eucalyptus Hills, looking at what they have in their TK classrooms in terms of like play areas, kitchens, all the fun stuff that we use in TK and K classrooms, so that we can make sure those get sent down to the sites so that they know what they have and what they might need to order for their TK classrooms for next school year. I'm not going to go through the whole TK is the way playbook, but this is just a little preview of the playbook that the TK teachers created over spring break. And in it, they cover like what's the research behind play-based learning, what a day looks like in TK, how they progress monitor their students, what are some of their common routines, what are some of the special things that they do in the TK play-based way, and then they also provided resources. So every principal and TK teacher will have access to this so that they can continue the play-based approach. So again, we spent the spring documenting our play-based approach. We're working on SEL curriculum. They are using a curriculum at TK, but a lot of our sites already are invested in other social emotional learning programs. So we really did leave it up to the site administrators. I could see it going either way, continuing with the program that TK is currently using. We will make that happen. Or if they want to integrate TK into the SEL programming that they're already using, we said we were okay with that as well, as long as they were doing something. And then this summer, the TK teachers are going to be offered 3 days to come work together as a team to create kind of like what we're doing K through 8 with our alignment and calibration. We're going to bring TK on to do some of that common planning time together this summer. And then in the fall, we're going to open those TK classrooms. And then just a little bit about training for our TK teachers. Since we have current TK teachers and there are some additional requirements now with the preschool expansion, there's some requirements for TK teachers to have 24 early childhood education units. But we also had the opportunity to certify as a district that our current TK teachers, based on their experience, we could certify them so they would not have to go out and get those additional units. So Stacey Arnold and Carrie Strong worked together. They looked at what the requirements are and what our teachers' experience are, and we were able to certify our current TK teachers. So we know that they're good to go, and then we're going to be bringing on new teachers. Those new teachers are either going to have the credential or go get 24 units of early childhood ed. But the San Diego County Office of Ed is going to partner with us to provide a program. They've done that for a lot of different things where we've required additional training for our teachers, and they usually put together a really, really excellent PD for our teachers. So we're going to partner with them. And then staffing, just so you know, the staffing ratio for TK is 12 students to 1 adult. So we're planning on having 24 students in our TK classes. We will have a teacher and an instructional aide. So we are, our TK classrooms that have not yet been staffed with teachers that are currently in the district are currently posted on EdJoin. And then we're anticipating that we may not have to post the aide positions because we had the learning loss mitigation aides this year that we're not going to be maintaining next year. And it looks like we're going to be able to keep most of them and slide them right into TK aide positions if that's something that they're interested in doing. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
No, presentation. I had questions along the way and then answered.
Then how many hours a day are TK?
Great question. We're going to run our TK program the same as our kinder classes. Yep. So we had a lot of discussion about that in the planning team, and we went back and forth. We talked about different models. We talked about half day, but a lot of the feedback that we got from the thought exchange was that people are looking for a full day, because otherwise they're going to have to do part day TK and then find childcare for their 4-year-old. So we're going to do the same as the kindergarten classes.
Will the TK students be able to go to the after school program?
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. We will have, just like all of our other school age kiddos, they will be included in our after school program. Yep. And Jared was part of our TK planning team. So he was able to also give us that feedback about what would work best for his program in terms of school day hours. So he was part of the planning process.
So do we have any kind of, I mean, you mentioned it a little bit, the long-term goal of what we'll do when it fully expands and the state's implementation grows over time? What were some of the ideas you guys had about the extra space? Because I think we're going to need it as it rolls in.
So what can I?
Yes,
I don't
of
want to
course.
step
No,
on your toes.
totally
You
fine.
Did a great job. So what we're looking at is right now we're in declining enrollment, right? So we're trying to punch that up, but every year it seems to decline a little bit more. So we have classrooms become available as we don't have students to fill them. So there might be a natural attrition. Other than that, we still have some space. I bet, we'll have to figure that out, but we are looking at different avenues for how we would house that.
Mhm.
But right now we're good and our projections are looking good.
So if we had the space, we'd be able, or if we had the extra demand this year, we'd be able to fill another class of TK. Is that?
I believe that we have
Yep.
space to do that, yes.
Yep.
We're trying to keep them, sorry,
No, it's
at their
okay.
home schools.
Yep.
So that they will just naturally go into that school environment, then,
Mhm.
you know, they'll feel comfortable and it's more of a comfortable setting. So that's the number one goal. But if we had to, just for space wise, go outside of that, we would have to do that.
Okay.
Where we're seeing the most interest right now is in immersion at Riverview or Winter Gardens. So we have another classroom available if we end up needing it, to open a third class there if we need to. That's where we seem to have the most interest at this point in time. And going into the future, this is the biggest expansion right now that we're doing. In the future, it'll only be like a month at a time. So we're expecting the biggest bump this year. And then we may not even get another classroom bump next year because it's really just going to be like one more month's worth of kids. And then the following year, I think it's 2 more months worth. So we'll see what happens, but we do anticipate having space.
All right. Anything else? All right, so I'm going to open a public hearing for receiving input for the disclosure of the collective bargaining agreement for the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240 to resolve negotiations for the 2021-2022 school year. Do we have any speakers? We do not. Okay, I will close the public hearing. All right, approval is requested of the disclosure of the collective bargaining agreement for the tentative agreement with the California Schools Association and its Chapter 240 to resolve negotiations for the 2021-2022 school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will also ask for approval of the collective bargaining agreement for the COVID-19 side letter with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll just take turns.
We'll move
I
it
am
around.
asking
We'll
for
share it.
approval.
We're gonna share and then.
Okay. Thank you. I'm asking for approval of the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240 to fully resolve negotiations for the 2021-2022 school year. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
And I'll second it.
So raise two seconds.
Laura was too slow.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And approval is requested of a side letter of agreement with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240 in regards to the COVID-19 public health emergency. Do I have a motion to approve?
It's my turn. I'll approve, make motion to approve the requested side letter of agreement with the California School Employees Association.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got more, folks. Approval is requested of the 2021-22 classified salary schedules per the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 240 for a 2% increase on the salary schedule effective July 1st, 2021, and an additional 1.5% on the salary schedule effective March 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, approval is requested of the following salary schedules for a 2% increase on the salary schedule effective July 1st, 2021, and an additional 1.5% increase on the salary schedule effective March 1st, 2022 for superintendent, management, and confidential. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we get to designate our consent agenda items. Do I have a motion to designate our consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to designate the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any items we'd like to pull? 2.2, I'd like to pull. Any other items? Okay,
4.7.
4.7. Any other items? Okay, then I will have a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda except 2.2 and 4.7. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Will you make the motion? Second?
I'll
Ollie?
second.
Okay.
Oh, did you
Don,
already
second.
second?
Don is going second.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, Donald second, Bonnie motion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And 2.2 I-Poll is just recognizing our classified employees of the year next week for their classified employees week. I do want to thank them for their work. They're the backbone that keeps the district running, sometimes unseen, and many times they get up early at 4, as I told you, and then they eat lunch at 10. So I appreciate all the work that they do, and I know my colleagues do too. Any comments on that?
No, I just want to reiterate, I said it earlier, but I know they're keeping our campuses clean for kids. They're serving them food every day. They're taking them safely to and from school via the buses. And they're doing all the clerical and other stuff, not only here at the district office, but at school sites. So I do so appreciate all of them and all the classified paraprofessionals that work in the classrooms with the teachers, because they really support kid learning and support teachers. So I so appreciate the work that they do.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 2.2?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 4.7.
I pulled 4.7 because I just wanted to acknowledge the gifts that were given to the district. The River PTSA gave $14,000 to purchase the tables for their playground area. We had donations made to Lindo Park and also from the PTA Council. And I just wanted to take a moment to just thank those people for those donations. It really is appreciated, and they fill a need that we have for our students. So I just wanted to say thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye. You want to get involved too?
Well, I mean, I need to at some point. Okay. Discussion on items for our first reading of board policy on charter school renewal. Any comments, thoughts, edits? Now is the time. Okay, all right, well, that'll come back to us. The first reading on board policy and exhibits uniform complaint procedures. Edits, comments, concerns. Okay, that'll come back. First reading is requested of administrative regulation for criminal background checks for contractors.
That's a good thing.
It's probably a good thing. Probably a good thing. Any comments or concerns? Edits?
No.
Okay, that'll come back to us. And first reading is requested of board policy and administrative regulation for drug and alcohol testing for school bus drivers.
Also seems
Also
like a good
seems important and is important. Any edits or adjustments to the policy? All right, that'll come back to us. All right,
We don't have an enrollment report.
okay, we don't have an enrollment report this month, so,
There's one there.
well, Lisa's not here. so
Yeah, but we went up a little bit.
We did go up a little bit. We were down last month and we're up a little bit.
Oh, it's on the.
It's in our board. Yeah. And then 0 Williams complaints were filed for the quarter ended March 31st, 2022. Anything you need to go over on that? No?
0 is good.
0, well, yes, I
like 0.
agree. I agree, 0 is good.
We like happy people.
And neither
They're
of
not here.
our labor partners leaders are here.
No,
I don't
I've seen
think.
that.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Then we'll move on. Well, Lisa is not here tonight. Dr. Natalie Winspear, any additional educational services updates?
I do. I have some quick updates. So as Don mentioned, we had our 4th and final district-wide PLC day on April 27th. We had about a 90-minute PD session on Zoom. It was focused on 4 high-leverage instructional practices that show, that are research-based, that show high effect sizes for learning outcomes for students. So as we are working on moving forward with our alignment and calibration work next year, since we weren't able to do it this year due to COVID, we use that time to, teachers are going to come together over the summer to develop lessons and common assessments. And those common assessments are designed to assess if students are learning what we're teaching. So before we did that, we wanted to recalibrate with our teachers around what are the highest leverage instructional practices that we can be using in the classroom to ensure that our students are learning what it is that we're teaching. And so those 4 things, in case you're interested, are setting a learning intention with students before your lesson, lots and lots and lots of opportunities for engagement, Learning tasks should build, extend, and apply their understanding. Opportunities to make meaning. So again, lots of opportunities for students to talk to each other about what they're learning and make meaning of what they're learning. And then also to assess their own learning. That's also a high leverage practice for them to set goals about what they want to learn and then evaluate whether or not they learned it. Makes a big difference. So we've also almost completed our LPAC testing. Kelly and her team have been working diligently this entire spring semester, and we are so very close to being done. So I want to acknowledge their hard work. CASP testing is also going on right now. Overall, it's going well. There have been some issues with the assessment platform, but those issues are on the state side of things. Yes, they've been humble this year and have sent out some apologies for some of the issues that we've been having. So while those are super frustrating, there's really not anything that we can do about it other than try to respond appropriately and support our teachers and students. The LCAP is in the final stages. So next month we get to have 2 board meetings where we go over the LCAP for next school year. Thankfully, if you'll recall, last year we wrote a 3-year LCAP. So this year it's really just about updating you on how we're doing and recommitting to the goals that we developed last year. So that's coming in June. We are also ready to roll with our K-5 science adoption. If you guys will recall, we were kind of ready to go a few years ago, but then we didn't have the funding to make it happen. So at the end of this month, Dave Tupper is going to come and give us a presentation. It's a kind of a review of a presentation that he gave a couple of years ago, but some of you were not on the board then, where he talks about the pilot process that our science teachers went through in order to adopt the science program. And then following that presentation, although we are not required to, we wanted to put our science curriculum on display for parents. So we will have some materials on display for them. We'll put it out on social media. We'll have principals put it in their weekly updates to parents that those things will be available here at the district office for them to take a peek at. And then we'll be able to bring it to a June meeting for you guys to formally adopt. And then we will order, and then we will have the fun of getting science materials out to the elementary sites.
Yay.
Rhonda tells me it's a super fun
It
thing.
is so
I can't
fun.
wait.
It is fun.
So fun.
We also had our MTSS TOSA interviews last week, and we are going to be welcoming 2 additional TOSAs to our TOSA team. So joining us will be Susie Smith and Emily Okerlund. So we're really excited about that. It's already an amazing team. It's going to be a more amazing team. And then the Ed Services team met with our Learning Academy teachers this week. So, we started our intervention. We've called them LLM. Then we decided we didn't like learning loss because it had a negative connotation. So now we're calling them Learning Academy teachers, essentially intervention teachers. If you recall, we were going to have them for 1 year, but then we found we ensured that we had funding to continue this program. So we wanted to bring the teachers together who were our early adopters, our heroes this year who started the program in Lakeside, and we wanted to hear from them about what worked, what didn't work, what could we do better next year, how can we be more prepared. So we met for 2 hours yesterday, and they gave us a ton of awesome feedback. So we have some really concrete ideas for things that we could do a little bit better next year to make the program even more effective. But the data that they brought to show some of the progress that our students are making is phenomenal. I'm super excited about it. At Lindo Park, for example, Susie was sharing that every single student that they worked with showed growth, some a year or a year and a half's worth of growth from intervention. So that is super, super exciting. And then last but not least, we are finalizing and almost ready to publish a summer learning opportunities flyer for our teachers, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, but we're going to have a lot of summer learning opportunities for our teachers this year. They're going to have an opportunity to come back for 3 days and work on alignment and calibration. They're going to have an opportunity to have professional development with Grace Dearborn on behavior and engagement. She's done behavior and engagement trainings in our district before. These are not the same ones. She's expanding on the training that she's done in the past. The teachers love her. Like the feedback from Grace Dearborn training is always like exemplary. So we're going to be inviting our teachers and our instructional aides to that training with Grace this summer. We're also going to be providing professional development on Imagine Learning, which is another intervention system that we adopted in the district, and a lot of teachers are using, and some have not quite gotten their feet wet yet. So we want to invite them in to do some PD with Imagine. And then we're also putting together a 2-day opportunity with the County Office of Ed in August. We're going to do it a few days before teachers report back. And it's basically on becoming more trauma informed. So they're going to have about 6 hours of PD, 2 days in a row, all about the impacts of trauma, how to support students who have had trauma, how to build relationships with families when there's been trauma. So just to have just a really trauma informed lens. Prior to COVID, we were seeing more and more students with behavioral challenges related to various trauma. And post-pandemic, that has just been exacerbated and is even more so. So we felt like this would be a good time to bring in some training for teachers on that. And we're also going to be inviting instructional aides and any staff who work with students. So like our LVNs, our office staff, anybody who interfaces with students and families is going to be invited to join that training. And that's it.
Okay. So then it's me.
Dr. Rhonda Taylor.
Well, there's a lot going on in Ed Services, as you see, and they're doing a great job over there. So I'm going to just wrap up by saying that it was really wonderful to get out in the community again and do the rodeo and do the Junior Olympics and all of those things. And I had someone tell me that they heard a child say, it feels like our community is coming to life again. And it just gave me goosebumps to hear that, and so awesome. I want to give a shout out to Brian's team too for testing. They are out there on site supporting our teachers when there's a glitch with the problem. Our MTSS testers are out as well. And so just supporting our teachers as far as something's going wrong, how do we get back on this platform and all of that. So they're working really hard. And just once again, acknowledge our teachers and our classified employees and honoring them, because I say this a lot, but I believe this. I'm not saying it just because it's a nice thing to say, but I truly believe that there is not one position in this district that's more important than another one, myself included. We are all a part of a team that does great things for kids, and we have to work together and move together. And everybody, whether you're cutting the grass or preparing the food, it's all in service of our students. And so that's it from me.
Okay. Any closing comments? Okay, then I will adjourn the meeting.
Oh, hey, I wanted to ask you, have you got an email from John Johnson? This guy emailed me.
Everybody's signature.
Sketchy, not